Okay, honourable members, that's it all for item 11. Honourable members, we want to zoom into the debate for the day. So we are moving to item part commencement of debate. Item 12. Debate on motion for the fourth parliamentary sitting. May I call on the majority leader to move the motion for the House to debate, and then minority leader second to put the question, and then the clerk will read it before your opening statement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I guess Mr. Speaker, I respond to Amanor, the majority leader. I move for the motion for today's sitting to be seconded for debate, which reads, the freeze on public sector employment, a strategy to stabilize the economy or a move to escalate unemployment in Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Minority leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. In response to the debate motion read and moved by the Honourable Majority Leader, I rise to second.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, the motion for today's debate has been presented for us to debate on. I now put the question to the House. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All in favor say nay. The ayes have it, the motion carries. Therefore, the House shall rightfully debate this. Clerk, can you read the motion to us?
Motion. Freeze on public sector employment. A strategy to stabilize the economy or to escalate unemployment in Ghana.
Thank you. Majority leader, opening statement. First deputy speaker to take the chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and our guest house. Speaker, today's motion for discussion is a very key one that we ought to look at it very importantly, which got to do with employment in Ghana, of which majority of the youths in Ghana currently are unemployed. And back in the current budget that was read, the current finance minister made it known to us that government is freezing employment for public sector. Public sector. The civil servant is equally part of them. They are being paid by government, so it's equally part. And what I want us to understand is that for the 2023 financial year, government will no more be recruiting. What I'm of the argument is that both civil and public, all of them are being paid by government. All of them are being paid by controller. That is what I want you to understand, that anybody who is being paid by controller will no more get employment. But it's important to note that, Mr. Speaker, it's important to note that in order for us to stabilize the economy that we have currently, it ought to be looked at. For example, in the 2023 budget that had been read, a whooping amount of 27 million 146, sorry, what am I even saying? Let's say 27 million Ghana cedis, which represent 4.6% of our GDP, is being used for payment of salaries and wages for government sectors. Currently, we have 300,009 public sector workers in Ghana currently. We have 300,000. 309K, 300,000, right? Yes. So currently, of which we have our total labor force being 13 million. It is important to note that while government is laying embargo on public sector recruitment, government has made alternative for the youth to cater for. For example, in the 2023 budget, government have introduced the Youth Start. The Youth Start is an initiative of government whereby government is going to support youths who are into business with an amount of 10,000 Ghana cedis and a capital of 10,000 Ghana cedis and technical support to establish their own business. With doing that, government is of the argument to bring down unemployment. For example, government has been doing so well in the past 6 years as far as employment is concerned. When we look at 2017, for example, unemployment grew at 4.22% In 2018, it grew at 4.82%. In 2019, it grew at 4.38%. In 2020, it grew at 4.65%. In 2021, unemployment grew at 4.70%. In 2022, in the second quarter, unemployment grew at 13.9%. Putting the argument to us that the current the economic situation we have currently have generated a lot of unemployment situations we have in Ghana. So if government is spending 27 million Ghana cedis, which is representing 4.6% of our total GDP, it is important and it is in the right direction that government lays embargo on public sector and civil personnel employment. It is very important because for us to be able to stabilize the economy, which is born out of one, some bad practices, two, Russia-Ukraine war, and then the COVID-19. It's very important that in that particular regard, government should be able to place an embargo. But in placing the embargo on the employment, government has equally made room for, what's the name? How do I put it? Youths who have business ideas. So for example, the 10,000 Ghana cedis will be given to you as a loan, and then you'll be provided a technical support. So currently, when you go to the Youth Start website, you can equally register. You say what?
This is opening statement.
Yeah, it is my opening statement. So you can be noting that what you want to do. It's my opening statement.
The opening statement is short. Why?
Oh.
Just make it short, then we begin the actual debate.
Please, respect yourself.
I'm putting it into order.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Speaker, so I'm of the argument that in as much as government is not employing in the 2023 financial year, government has equally made room in the 2023 budget, whereby youth will be supported with the amount of 10,000 Ghana cedis and technical support as to come up with their own businesses. It has been happening all this while. We have other agencies like the Gold CMG, of which my good brother Cyril and his team have won 8,000 Ghana cedis in their. My good friend Honorable Kendall Elizabeth Mante had won 40,000 from the presidential speech, and I'm sure currently we'll be seeing soya calf all over the market. And then my good friend Honorable Elizabeth, in as much as government is not employing the presidential speech, she has won 40,000 Ghana cedis from the pitch, of which she will be supporting her business, of which she will be starting her business very soon. Same as Honorable Vixen. So in the situation whereby Honorable Vixen finished his national service, of which there's an embargo on employment, Honorable Vixen and his team has 8,000 Ghana cedis to put their business to start. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, please, I don't know whether you weren't following your time or so, but Mr. Speaker, before I proceed with my opening statement, I want us to note this. The one-man majority here can talk. So please, know how to put him in mind. Okay, Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity given me. The name is Erasmus, Minority Leader. Mr. Speaker, towards the motion being read, Mr. Speaker, I believe that the minority are substantially on the view that the freeze on public sector employment is going to highly heighten and escalate unemployment in Ghana, irrespective of the countermeasure that the government is putting on board. Mr. Speaker, telling us that you are going to support the youth with 10,000 or 1,000 cedis, whatsoever the amount is, for people who come about and pitch entrepreneurial projects and etc., is not something we could say that is assured, irrespective of the fact that yes, some agendas or itineraries of that sort have been meted out or have been given or rendered to people. Mr. Speaker, we all know the series of red tape available in this country. You go and pitch your entrepreneurial policy and be expecting that money for years, it will never come. Mr. Speaker, that is one thing we should get to know about the fact that even how many people are going to be able to benefit from that entrepreneurial fund. Mr. Speaker, we are of the view that doing such or taking such an endeavor is going to escalate unemployment in a country. And not just that, Mr. Speaker, we are heightening the rise of social vices like armed robbery, murder, rape cases, and all sorts of things due to unemployment. We all know the popular saying that goes that the devil finds job for the lazy man. Mr. Speaker, this is the time. 2023 is the time that the devil is going to find lots of jobs for the lazy man. Let's look at these statistics, Mr. Speaker. Let's look at these statistics. How many people graduate from technical universities and universities from all walks of life in this country? Look at the number. And how many people are going to benefit from that 1,000 or 10,000 Ghana cedis? Mr. Speaker, let's say all of us, all the people who have actually projected their business plans, projected their entrepreneurial ideas to the government are supposed to receive that 10,000 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, isn't it better than just goes looking at 10,000 Ghana cedis? Everybody in the country have now projected their entrepreneurial ideas. What about this? Where are they going to get the money to pay all of them? Mr. Speaker, we are, you see, the government is just trying to use some shady ways to just, it's true that they want to cut down expenditure, but Mr. Speaker, the expenditure they need to cut down is right in front of them. And then, Mr. Speaker, I want to let it know right here that during the course of this debate, the minority is going to provide substantial remedial actions, which is supposed to be what? To be enforced instead of what? Freezing employment in the public sector. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to be a talkative like some people in this house. I would like to bring my opening statement down here, and then during the course of the debate, we will give you concrete and substantial points. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minority Leader. Honorable members, the floor is open for debate. Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and the guest house. Mr. Speaker, I want to help I respond to Amanor, the Majority Leader. When my good friend was about starting his opening statement, he was of the argument that it was an opening statement and it should be short. But my good friend ended up reading about 3 pages US, and I think in his definition that was short. I don't know, that's the minority definition of short. I never knew that was the minority's definition of short. But to us, we just take it as that is your definition for being short. Our short is not short. We would like to speak more. Mr. Speaker, it should be noted that public sector employment is not the only form of employment in Ghana currently. It should be noted that the informal sector, by statistics, employ more than the public sector. The total labor force for Ghana currently is 13,701,701. This is the total workforce of the country currently. Total personnel in the government sector and the civil sector, Mr. Speaker, is 309,000 people currently. So subtract 309,000 from 13 million and do the mathematics and see. And then you are telling me that for the purposes that government want to control expenditure and freezing employment, you are going to steal and you are going to be raping people. Is that the case? In the same way, this USTAT that we are talking about is not the only alternative. In my opening statement, I just made the argument that in as much as government is freezing employment in the 2023 financial year, government has equally made a room in the 2023 budget for youths with entrepreneurial skills to pitch their ideas. And this one is not even to pitch their ideas. This one is at the district level. You apply. Once you apply and your business idea is good, you proceed. I'm the only one, please.
So what?
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, to regulate the house, I will use a stop watch.
Yes. Yeah. Don't worry, I'm the only person, so I always speak. You share the speaking among yourselves. So
Honorable Majority Leader, by my time over here, you are left with 2 minutes. I gave you 5 minutes.
No, it's not a big deal. Mr. Speaker.
And I'll give them also 5 minutes. After that, all your submissions shouldn't exceed 2 minutes. I think that's the way.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Now, from the Ghana Statistical Service, unemployment rate for the 2022 was at 4.8%. It has been estimated that in 2023, unemployment rate will grow at 4.9%. Mr. Speaker, the phrasing of public and civil sector employment is a way for government to stabilize the economy. Now, I'm of the argument and putting it to the minority. Should we have a dangling economy such that we'll be having issues and stress in the economy, rather than government putting up all the measures in 2023, stabilizing the economy for a good economy in 2024? That is the question I want to put to the minority. Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I am glad that the majority leader provided statistical evidences. Mr. Speaker, in that same regard, I want to draw us back to a little bit of economics from senior high schools and then even our technical universities, sorry. Mr. Speaker, we look at gross domestic product or national income. Mr. Speaker, if we look at national income, a very important factor that we consider, a criteria for national income, okay, is income from the domestic personnel or citizens. I want to bring it down. Income from citizens in the country and income from citizens abroad. In that regard, we look at per capita income. Mr. Speaker, some of us, because of some few reasons, I would refer to some notes over here. Mr. Speaker, per capita income is equal to national income all over population. Okay? National income all over population. Then we go ahead to look at the income, national income being equal to the net domestic product at factor cost plus net factor income from abroad. Okay? That is what I was trying to explain, that we look at citizens, income from citizens within the country and income from citizens that are outside. Mr. Speaker, now we are cutting down the income that we are going to be receiving from citizens within the country. So now you are looking at the fact that you are shortening, okay, you are shortening the scope of the income, even though you look at the fact that that income that you are going to be paying, Mr. Speaker, is reducing or is increasing your expenditure. But then when we look at the per capita income, Mr. Speaker, it is that very income that is what is amalgamating our GDP. So in that very regard, Mr. Speaker, we need to economize over here. We need to economize over here in the sense that now, with human resource serving as labor, we are now increasing productivity. And then we are reducing the risk of wastage of human resources. Mr. Speaker, that is the first factor that is worth considering. Mr. Speaker, we are looking at the fact that unemployment here, in this case, in the year 2023, is going to turn our population into a liability, irrespective of the analysis made by the majority leader in the respect that private sectors tend to recruit more people. Mr. Speaker, we are looking at the fact that what we get from the government in terms of employment is not just a sense of being absorbed into the government payroll. I want to bring your mind over here. Mr. Speaker, I put it to the majority leader that if you are being given a slot to be employed in the government sector and a slot to be employed in the private sector, you will choose the government sector, true or false. It is very true, because he knows what advantages and benefits are derived from the government sector. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to pour water on stone. Mr. Speaker, we look at reduced income and the cost of living heightening. Yes, even though the government has decided to bring out certain remedial actions to combat the unemployment. Mr. Speaker, you are watching the time. Even though the government has provided certain remedial actions to combat the unemployment purported to take place in 2023, Mr. Speaker, we are looking at the accompaniment. What are those accompaniments that we are talking about? Standard of living has now been heightened. So it means that there's going to be a lower standard of living based on certain tariffs and everything that is being brought in 2023. Are we looking at that? Cost of living is going to rise, because now, even if I want to engage in certain transactions, which are this e-levy stuff, it is even going to let me say, derail me. Okay, so if you look at all the hardships that are going from left and right, and then now you want to put unemployment Thank you very much. And now you want to add unemployment to it. Mr. Speaker, to a larger extent, Mr. Speaker, the government is doing us more harm than good. The government is doing us more harm than good. And then the government is practically releasing criminals into the society. So we are saying no to unemployment budgeted for 2023. That is all. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Honorable, for your point well made.
Where's spectacle?
Submission on the majority side.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. I respond to a man of the majority leader. You see,
Please, you have 2 minutes.
the subject matter under discussion, the minority is confused. Government is not laying off workers. So when you are telling us that we are decreasing the per capita income of the country, you are confused. Government is not adding up. Whatever we have there is what we have there. Government is not laying off the 309,000 people that we have there. Government is not laying off a single person. So the per capita...
I never made mention of such. Yes.
Honorable members, let's reduce the objection and allow honorable members to make their submissions. Thank you very much.
Honorable Speaker, the minority leader interjected. He has added 30 seconds into my time. Thank you very much. When you were speaking about your economics and then per capita income decreasing, so you are telling me that when unemployment, when they don't employ, the per capita income of the country, of the citizens decreases. It's a rhetorical question. Keep it when you are then you answer me. The 309,000 people that government have on the payroll, government is not laying any of them off. Government is simply not adding additional because already government spends 27 million Ghana cedis of the total budgeted budget of Ghana, which represents 4.3% of our GDP on salaries and wages. So government is of the argument that if we want to stabilize the economy as well as put the economy back to shape and cut down expenditure, we are no more recruiting for 2023 as far as government recruitment is concerned. Probably the private sector is recruiting. By virtue of the 1D1F initiative by government, of which currently we have a total of 296 projects, of which 143 are still under construction and 126 is still working. Government-private sector partnership is helping employment as far as employment is concerned. It does not mean that the whole of 2023 there will be no employment. Government is not employing in 2023. Private sector is employing. Students, people with entrepreneurial skills are being supported through the U Start program. So my argument is that as far as I'm concerned, I'm not employed, yes, but I've never stolen anybody's thing. I've not been a burden to government. I've never raped anybody or went to little social vices. So my argument once again to the minority is that in 2023, should it happen that you don't get the U Start, or should it happen that you are not absorbed by any private sector, will you go and steal or will you go and rape anybody by virtue that you are not employed? Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Thank you for abiding by the time. Submission from the minority side.
Mr. Speaker,
you have 2 minutes.
Yes, 2 minutes. I will speak just briefly, and then within that 2 minutes, my minority caucus will take over. Mr. Speaker, talking about laying off, I never mentioned anything about laying off. Mr. Speaker, irrespective of the fact that the government is not laying off, Mr. Speaker, we are saying that there are certain people who will be going on pension. They are aged. Mr. Speaker, there are certain vacancies that are going to be coming on board in the government sector. So how do we fill this redundancy or this open space? These are very important things that we need to look at. And so one, as those vacancies are being created, we are looking at the fact that productivity is going to lessen. And we are looking at the fact that as productivity is lessening, Mr. Speaker, the expected revenue is also coming down. Mr. Speaker, we are looking at the fact that the private sector employment, is giving things that are nothing to write home about to most of them. And then most of this private sector, Mr. Speaker, are basically people who have started up their own businesses. You get it? Mr. Speaker, I'm not talking much because my minority caucus are going to talk on them. It's not up. Mr. Speaker, you guys should talk. I'll rise up again.
All right, thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I respond to the name Hubert Agbahode. Per what the majority leader already stated that the freeze on public sector employment to stabilize the economy. I would like to state something for him to get clearer picture on what is going to happen in 2023. Effect on economy. When people are unemployed, they spend less money, which ultimately contributes to less contribution to the economy in relation to what? Services and goods sold and produced. They also experience a reduced purchasing power, which can leave other individuals who create products that were purchased by these individuals without jobs as well. Additionally, more than 70% of what Ghanaian economy produces is purchased by consumers. Unemployed individuals consume much less than what? Those who are employed. So a higher unemployment rate can leave the economy lacking in terms of products sold. This can leave organizations with what? Decreased revenue. Thank you very much.
Mr. Ziga, the time is not up yet. It's not up. It's not up.
Thank you very much. I intentionally added extra 30 seconds for you to be able to finish whatever you say. So the time is up. And I think to be fair, I have to do same for the majority side too.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and the guest house. I respond to Amanor. Mr. Speaker, it should be noted that the minority is not speaking with facts. And it must be noted as such. What Honorable Agbahode just read is someone's writing about unemployment and the economy, right? In 2022, unemployment grew at 4.8%. That was the data from the Statistical Service of Ghana. It has been predicted that in 2023, unemployment will grow at 4.9%. Just 0.1% difference, kind of. So in the same argument that I want to put to Honorable Agbahode, that what you read, like the effect on the economy, are we seeing that effect now? If yes is your answer, then how will it look different in 2023 per your argument, Karen? It should be noted that if unemployment is growing at 4.9, 0.1% more than in 2023, the difference is not going to be that much. But what I want you to understand that you are not getting from me is that though public sector recruitment, and it's not going to happen, the private sector is recruiting. Now, what Honorable Erasmus rightly said that they are giving peanuts, half a loaf is better than, who said half a loaf? Someone made a statement that half a loaf is better than none in the previous discussion that we had before. So in the argument where we say half a loaf is better than none, will you take half a loaf or you take none as compared to you having none? So it should be of the argument that if we are speaking of stabilizing the economy and freezing public sector, and when you speak about what's the name, people going on retirement and the like, who is telling you that productivity is going to decrease? In what argument? For example, in my department, if a lecturer goes on, what's the name, on retirement, and then he's not being replaced, is teaching going to be stopped? Are we not having lecturers who have the same mental faculty to be able to handle the course that particular lecturer was handling before he went on retirement? In a particular department, for example, NCA, for example, in our engineering department, we have 4 different engineers in that particular department. So in the situation whereby a particular engineer goes on retirement, it means that that particular engineer going on retirement, the 3 engineers left over cannot be able to, roll over and do the work over there. Is that the argument that we are putting out? In a situation whereby a teacher goes on retirement, are we of the argument that the whole entire school, probably there will be no teacher to fill up that particular gap? Is productivity going to go down? Yeah. How is productivity going to go down? Thank you very much. So, Mr. Speaker, in the argument that, what's the name? You read out the effect on the economy, of the argument that unemployment is growing at 4.9% in 2023. I put the question to you. Provide your data, then we'll take it from there. Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, the majority leader laid out some facts. Mr. Speaker, we want to let it be noted that we talk about productivity and you limited it to teaching in that very educational sector, in that very regard. Mr. Speaker, we are looking at a lot of places. Okay, Mr. Speaker, the fact that you know the task at hand that you are doing and then you are no longer there, the next person who is going to fill your slot. Now we are looking at the speciality or the specialization over here. What is the assurance that that person is going to be able to fill that gap correctly as you did. Mr. Speaker, that is the first thing that we tend to ask over here. Secondly, we go ahead to talk about this recruitment. The fact that the private sector are going to recruit and have a loaf of bread is better than none. Mr. Speaker, every year, let's look at the services. This military, police, and everything. Mr. Speaker, every year they recruit. Okay? And with that recruitment, we are now bringing a halt in that. So, Mr. Speaker, these are people that are waiting on the line. Mr. Speaker, I just want the majority leader to get to know the fact that you putting a ban or an embargo on recruitment of people into the public sector, Mr. Speaker, it's to a large extent, it's going to cause a lot of mishaps in the economy. Because we are looking at the fact that you are now taking people, you are ridding people of the opportunities to fend for themselves. We want to talk with facts. Mr. Speaker, I was working on some few facts before, but I wasn't able to finish. So I'll sit down. When I'm done, I'll present this fact again for the majority leader. However, Mr. Speaker, let's look at the unemployment rate. Mr. Speaker, this is something that occurred. Look at this. From 2018 to 2019, unemployment increased from 4.28 to 4.32. Mr. Speaker, that is 0.1, the same 0.1 that the majority leader rightfully spoke about. 2019 to 2020, it rose from 4.3 to 4.65. Here, it increased by what? About 0.3%. These were years that, Mr. Speaker, they didn't lay embargo on recruitment. Mr. Speaker, from 2020 to 2021, it rose from 4.65 to 4.70. Mr. Speaker, let me just conclude for you. Mr. Speaker, in 2022, it is currently at 4.80. My point is, I want the majority leader to work on his own statistics. Mr. Speaker, by 2023, the end of 2023, if in these years there were no unemployment embargo or employment embargo and still unemployment was able to rise to this margin, then Mr. Speaker, in the year 2023, by the end, unemployment is going to heighten by not just a small fraction. That is what I want us to know. And it's going to go a long way to cause dilapidation in our economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Majority.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and the guest. Mr. Speaker, I want to put to the minority. In 2015, embargo was placed on public sector recruitment. Mr. Speaker, minority, please, minority leader, please let your ears be here. So that no, he is not listening. I don't want a situation whereby he is not paying attention. I don't want a situation whereby he will come and be scolding me. Minority leader, in 2015, yes, when embargo was placed on public sector recruitment, unemployment grew at 6.81%. As your argument rightly is, in 2015, was there decrease in productivity? I want to put that question to you.
How do you measure productivity?
I'm coming. It's a rhetorical question.
So it's measured by GDP. So if the GDP fell, go ahead.
Minority leader, you are not helping the argument. I'm putting the question to you. Okay. You note your question down, and then you come up with your defense when you get your time. You are not helping the argument.
Go ahead. 2015.
Minority leader.
Go ahead.
Our minority leader. In 2015, unemployment grew at 8.1%. GDP grew at 4.3%. Okay. Currently, as of 2015, when public sector recruitment was decreased. Sorry, was frozen. That was how GDP grew. In 2014, when public sector recruitment was there, unemployment grew at 6.52%, and then GDP grew at 4.2%, 1% less than in 2015 when employment. So your argument of when there's an embargo laid on public sector recruitment, it decreases productivity, is here nor there. Because in the actual sense, when I made the argument, I just used teaching and probably engineering as my example. You are limiting it to only that too. In that particular expense, for example, SRC, for example, should it happen that the SRC president or vice travels or the secretary travels, that the running of the SRC stops? No. It runs perfectly. In a situation whereby VC travels, that the running of the university stops? No. In a situation whereby your lecturer travels, any of the lecturer, does teaching in the department? No, it doesn't. Are you getting it? When we are talking about efficiency, what is your data? What is your evidence that those who are going on retirement, those who are there cannot do their work. Because in 2015, GDP grew 1%, 0.1% more than in 2014 when unemployment was there. So, honorable minority leader, you are arguing that if public sector recruitment is frozen, then it decreases productivity. It's there or there. It's there or there. Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, when we look at the organogram for every organization, Mr. Speaker, we talk about top level management.
Exactly.
We talk about the middle level or the strategic level. Okay, then we talk about the low level. Here where we deal with subordinates and etc. Mr. Speaker, if you want to use the people at the top level, Mr. Speaker, I believe that in terms of that, even we have delegation. So even if a person is not around, somebody can fill that void. But Mr. Speaker, we look at critical levels which demand manpower.
Honorable minority leader, I am not a he, I'm a she.
Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, just make me confused.
Please, you can proceed.
Please, the time has been added because you spoke, sir.
No problem.
Thank you. You cry from minority. Madam Speaker, so with what I was saying, Mr. Speaker, we are looking at the fact that with such strategic level and then the low level management, Mr. Speaker, filling such void with people with the technical know-how and the expertise to do the task. Mr. Speaker, in the cases where such people are no longer available, let's say somebody should pass on due to the fact that the nature of the work was too cumbersome and too, let me say, dangerous, okay? And then the person should, let's say, lose their life. How are you going to fill such a void? Are you going to say that, okay, Kojo knows how to do it, so Kojo should manage the 2 works he's doing? Within a whole year, one person. So he's telling me that the whole year, VC is not around. So VC is not around the whole year. Pro VC will be doing his tasks. Are you telling me that, okay, you are teaching a whole year, your English teacher, let's say your English lecturer, or is not around. Yes, there are other lecturers who are handling other tasks, but then are you telling me that they should also leave their work and come and handle your class, or they should combine the 2 classes? So yes, irrespective of the fact that you want to improvise, majority leader, irrespective of the fact that you want to improvise, you shouldn't let go of the fact that there is going to be a retardation over there. Okay? And yes, make up of now so many can be being true. Now, I was talking using this military, police, and everything as reference. Mr. Speaker, in this particular field, every year people go on retirement. Okay, every year people go on retirement. Now, these people are going on retirement, let's say about 10%, or let's say about 5%, okay, of this military service personnel go on retirement every year. Mr. Speaker, we are looking at the fact that, for the sake of time, we are looking at the fact that with such people going on retirement, are we saying that those subordinates are going to fill their gaps for a whole period of 1 year? So this is the point of productivity I'm talking about. Mr. Speaker, I'll come back with statistics. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I guess Mr. Speaker, I respond to Amanor, the majority leader. You see, Mr. Speaker, when the minority started the argument, they said unemployment will bring social vices. Now they are saying productivity. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask them a question. It's rhetorical. They can keep it when it is their turn. Let's put it, for example, that I'm the experienced engineer at VR and I go on retirement. Then they recruit a graduate from senior school to come and replace my position. Where between the two, where a senior member within the engineering department is filling that person's vacancy, between the graduate engineer and then the senior engineering department, who is going to work very well, and which of them is employment, productivity is going to high? Because you have the argument that once the person goes on retirement and then somebody is taxing, productivity will decrease, so they should employ somebody to fill that particular gap. The person that they are recruiting is inexperienced. Just get it, the person who they are is now coming to the job and coming to learn on job, compared to someone who is already in the job that one way or the other had already been doing the work. Are you getting it? You see, the minority is not getting their own argument right. Because when you recruit somebody, the same person is coming to learn the work that he's going to do. And a person who has already been there for years, and then probably somebody is going on retirement or somebody died. And what is the argument that people are going to go on retirement? So in the year, for example, the way we have HTU, for example, then the teaching capacity we have here, maybe if we have 50 lecturers, then boom, 30 are going on retirement. Is it the argument in all public sectors? No, that is not even the argument in the public sector. Once in a while, probably 1 or 2, or probably at most 3 in a particular institution. So, for example, when we pick NCO, for example, I know that per the staff capacity and the age, the retirement that will come in the next 20 years. So, in a situation whereby they are not recruiting and nobody is going on retirement, is productivity going to decrease? No, that is not the argument. So, what we are telling the minority is that your argument that when someone goes on retirement and the person in that particular gap is not full, it decreases productivity, is here nor there. Is here nor there. Our argument always is that, as we have put it out to you, that government have brought out policies and plans to one way or the other hold the situation while we put ourselves together to stabilize the economy. And in any case, from 2017 all the way down to 2022, employment has been going on. Everything was fine. In conclusion, what we want to tell the minority is that the argument that when somebody goes on retirement, the person is not replaced, is it decreases the productivity. I can't even understand what they are even telling us. It's there not there. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Sorry, Madam Speaker.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I respond to the name Hubert Agbahode. The majority leader earlier on put to me that I should show him why, if somebody goes on a retirement, how would that reduce productivity? And you gave us an example where a lecturer teaching 2 subjects. Okay, we as individuals, we have blood in our system, right? As compared to machines that even break down when workload on them is going on regular basis. When the machine breaks down, what will happen to productivity? Okay, let me come back to the lecturer aspect. A lecturer is taking one course per day, and he teaches perfectly. Maybe he closes or he starts from 7 or 8 and closes at somewhere 2. So now that a lecturer is going on a retirement and you are adding another course to that lecturer, and the lecturer is closing at let's say 5 or 6, are you going to compare the same productivity whilst he was taking handling one course as the same lecturer handling 2 courses? No. We are having blood in our system in as much as you can teach perfectly, you can teach more than the person you are taking over from, but still you'll be tired on the way, and productivity as compared to you handling one course can never be measured with you handling 2 courses. And you mentioned let's say vice chancellor, somebody on a senior rank goes on a retirement and they recruit somebody. No. When you look at the organogram structure, you cannot recruit somebody from a lower rank, and unless the person is also perfect for that position. Let's say vice chancellor goes on a retirement. Who is the next available person to fill that portfolio? Is it not the pro vice chancellor? No. Or who is the next? Who is the next available person? Somebody who is close to that position. When you look at the organogram structure, the next person after the vice chancellor is available to occupy that position. And when the next person before the vice chancellor occupies, it runs accordingly. If let's say the vice chancellor at our school here has gone on retirement and they feel that they deem it fit that maybe the next person in our institution can occupy, and they deem it fit that another institution which can occupy the same position can occupy they can bring, let's say, UG, UCC or KNUST to occupy that position. Not that now that they are coming to recruit or teach that person from the start, whereby it will reduce productivity, as you are saying. No. In conclusion, when there is a freeze on public sector employment and somebody goes on a retirement, surely it will bring result into reducing productivity. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, the Right Honourable Speaker and the August House. Honourable members, I've taken my time to read the motion over and over again, and I feel as learned as we are, we should be able to look at diverse angles to this motion. We are so close to blaming somebody for no. can we equally look at this freeze on public sector employment as an avenue to chance on other alternatives? When we started this argument, an honorable member from the minority side rightly said that we should be innovative. When you are faced with modern problems, you apply modern solutions. We are faced with a problem that may or may not directly be linked to us. Now, it's a problem we are trying to solve. We have an economy which is in a turmoil. How do we solve the problem? The people who are the hem of affairs have gone back to the books, done their homeworks, and they feel that no, their solution is that we look at other alternatives. And that alternative that they brought out was not only limited to the fact that, okay, they are going to freeze public sector employment. And even that freeze is not 100% freeze. So when we are talking about something like that, it means we are trying to appreciate other avenues. And within the same document that spoke about the freeze, you can see that there's a lot of inputs that are giving alternatives. As youth as we are, you must be able to look at, okay, if I am really interested in working, if one person can benefit from the 10,000 Ghana cedis that is being given out to people with the business ideas, the honorable member said, how many of us can benefit from that? I tell you this, if myself, Felix over here, I am able to benefit from that and start an auto shop with my engineering background, I tell you this, I can be able to employ 2-3 of my friends. With my brother's electrical background, if he starts a firm today, in a year or two, he can be able to employ 2-3 of his friends. And what are we doing? We are starting to gradually grow ourselves as a nation. And we are not going to be limited so much and put all our attention on government. Yes, it is necessary that government does its part on the employment issue. But we are talking about a financial year. This might not maybe take the whole year. On record, yes, we are looking at 1 year. But off the books, it might not take a whole year. We are trying to solve a problem. If the problem is solved, we'll come back to the norm. But for now, all our attention is on how we'll solve the problem that is there. And the solution, no matter how we want to go about it, is that we put a little break, not even an entire freeze, on public sector employment. And we should try something else. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Honorable Member.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, you see, the fact that we are trying to talk about this is not like we are against government. No, that is not it. Madam Speaker, I rose up with some few facts. Talking about the GDP in correspondence to what the majority leader spoke to me on. I will say spoke to me, not to the House, because he addressed it purposely to myself. Mr. Speaker, we look at the GDP from 2018 to 2021 and we look at their respective unemployment rates. Madam Speaker, in 2018, GDP stood at $67.30 billion against 4.28 rate of unemployment. 2019, it was 68.34 billion. Unemployment was 4.32. It means it kept on rising. Madam Speaker, 2020, our GDP was $70.04 billion. And then the unemployment rate was 4.65%. Madam Speaker, 2021, it was $77.59 billion, and then GDP was 4.70. Now, we see that there's a proportionate rate, even as the GDP is rising. Mr. Speaker, unemployment is equally rising. Madam Speaker, let's look at these statistics too. Madam Speaker, in 2019, even though there was no embargo, okay, in 2019, Madam Speaker, the budget spent on wages, payment of wages in the country was 5.6% out of the whole 100% of what the government uses its money for. It was only 5.6% that was spent on wages alone. Pay your own people, 5.6%. 2020, out of the money that was arrived or ascertained, that 2020, which was what, 70.04 billion, Madam Speaker, it was only 6.5 that was spent on payment of wages. Madam Speaker, 2021, okay, it was only 4.9% out of the 77.59 billion that was spent on wages. What are you telling me? If you are telling me that what, if you stop unemployment or you lay embargo, rather it will reduce expenditure. Madam Speaker, it doesn't make sense. The calculation does not sum up. To tell me that it is the recruitment or the employment that is, let me calm down. Madam Speaker, to tell me that it is the employment into the public service that is causing more expenditure. Madam Speaker, we should look at the main causes. The main causes of the expenditure, the things that we are spending on. Look at this National Cathedral. Madam Speaker, we just look at how much is being pumped into that. Is it useless project? Very important project, sorry, but somehow useless. Let me correct myself before I'm put into order. Madam Speaker, let's look at other things. Other factors or other areas of the economy that we can seek remedies to. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, if we should take, Madam Speaker, if we should take the very important things, okay, it's not the unemployment or it's not embargo on employment that will reduce our expenditure. We will come back again because of time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker and the Augusta. Madam Speaker, I respond for Amanor. In the minority leader statement, I'm very disheartened that he made a statement that only 4.5% of the total budgeted GDP is used on employment. The economy does not revolve around only payment of allowances and then what's exactly what's the name? You like interjecting. It's not good for the keep on. I always keep quiet, note down my point, and what's the name? Come back to you when I get my turn. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Madam Speaker, when you say only 4.5, if 4.5 is spent on allowances and wages, the economy that has to do health, economy that has to do projects, the economy that has to service loans from backdated loans is spending 4.5% of its total GDP on salaries. And you are telling me it's only. If we are spending 4.5% on allowances and wages for public sector, these employees, how much will government be spending on projects, on making sure that we service loans, on all the other aspects of the economy? Which one will government use to build roads and the likes? Government is not laying off, what's the name, employees. So, for example, if in 2021, government had employed, the public sector has recruited, let's say, for example, 100,000 people in 2021. If in 2021, government has recruited 100,000 people, and in 2023, government is no more recruiting 100,000 people, just calculate how much their wages are and what it will use for in the economy. You see, Madam Speaker, they are not even listening to what I'm saying, and they are even doing their own thing. Madam Speaker, we are listening. That's what we are even. I getting it. I'm making my point. I'm of the argument that if 2022, government had recruited 100,000 people, right? And in 2023, government says that we are no more recruiting 100,000 people, and we are keeping the monies that are for the 100,000 people for other aspects of the economy, for the economy to come back to life. And you are telling me that because of that, what's the name? So let's say, for example, if 100,000 people will come and amount to, what's the name? The 4.5, which will balloon the amount to 7 or 7.0 or 5 point something. It is an amount of money. That's the government was the argument that even though, you see, they are limiting the argument to only employment. We have the argument that even if nothing at all, whilst unemployment, government is freezing employment on government sector, the private sector is still recruiting. U-Start is there. 1D, 1F is still employing. So what is the argument? It is obvious what is not sustainable. What you say is not sustainable. Are you going to tell me that MTN recruiting is not sustainable? Are you telling me that if Honorable Kende Mante has gotten 40,000 Ghana cedis to start her own business, it's not sustainable? Honorable victim Bryce Salom just got 8,000 Ghana cedis from their beating, and you're telling me it's not. I'm not an entrepreneurial listen. I'm not an I was part of EBT. Ella, Emanuela, we won 8,000. Is that?
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm just an accountant. I'm not part of the team.
You are a team.
I'm just part of the team on paper.
Mention your name on social media.
I get it. So I'm of the account currently. See where Ayami Manuela and then her team has gotten to, with where they have gotten to. With that 8,000 Ghana cedis they got from their pitching. Yes, page 7. Is it page 7 or what is the name of their piece? Page 7.
Yeah, page 7, exactly.
Count the number of people who are employed in that particular kiosk. About 4 of them. On a normal day, if 8,000 had been able to employ 4 people in the space of 2 years, that 8,000 would not have been able to pay someone's salary for 2 months. And we are telling you that going into entrepreneurship and giving support for people and technical advice is the way forward for 2023. As we look at ways, bring back the economy to life for 2024. And you are telling me that you don't understand, and I don't know what you understand again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, I would proceed and then you come in. Madam Speaker, I like Mr. Speaker a lot because it's always Mr. Speaker. Madam Speaker, first of all, the honorable majority.
Yeah.
Madam Speaker, you see, the thing is back up.
The clock is ticking.
Madam Speaker, look, I brought a factual figure where I used 4.9% out of the gross GDP or the gross domestic product for 2021. Now, 4.9% out of 77.59 billion means that it was only 3.80 billion out of 77.59 billion that was used to pay for wages. It means that there was still a remaining figure of 73.23 billion. What was it used for? It was used for these same things that the majority leader is saying that they want to redirect the fund, what they want to budget for their wages. No, it's just for this same thing that the majority leader wants them to use for them. No, our people are suffering. Our people are in need of funds to cater for their families and everything. I asked the deputy minority leader to Google the number of graduates from universities every year for you to see the figure. How many people are going to benefit from that U-Star that you keep talking about? How many people? Would they even amount to about 20 people? Or even about 50 or 100 people? If 100 people are getting that 10,000, multiply that. Let's even use 100 people getting that 10,000. Multiply it and see whether you not get that 3.80 billion that we are talking about. You understand? So if you use sorry, my pen fell down. If you do the calculation or if you do the statistics, you get what I'm talking about. You keep mentioning U-Start. What is U-Start? Look at the money that is being used to pay our people, and look at the money that is being wasted on unnecessary expenditure. That they look at cabinet members, look at the convoy of the president. Even recently, we heard of the news of the jet, the private jet and all those things. They are wasting money on unnecessary things. That is what we want them to bring their attention on, not on employment. That will tell us that they want to put embargo on employment. What is that? You understand? Madam Speaker, I want to correct the majority leader. You should come out with facts. You asked me to come out with facts, and I'm coming out with facts. Come out with correct facts so that we talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I guess Madam Speaker, when you are losing a fight, you start to cry ahead of time before the fight ends actually. You see, it is a debate whereby we are bringing out our ideas and how to put things. But your minority leader is gradually getting emotional and he's about to cry. Don't cry, my brother. This is why you run away all this while. Oh, I never knew. Thank you very much. Madam Speaker, you see what my brother made the argument that government spends an amount of money on U-Start and tagging it as useless is quite unfortunate. Because the way to go is entrepreneurship. Unless probably my brother from the business background want to tell me, the engineer, that what's the name? The entrepreneurship we have been taught all this while, one way or the other, does not make sense. I just made mention of my friends who had got 8,000 Ghana cedis from their pitching back in 2020 November. And today they are doing so well, having their own shop, selling, and then they have employed 4 people. Madam Speaker, 8,000 in 2020. And in 2022, 8,000 in 2020. 8,000 in 2020. In 2 years in 2022, they have been able to employ 4 people. Madam Speaker, in 2020, if we are to employ people, and then probably government is to employ people, and paying people salary. Let's say, for example, monthly salary is 3,000, one person. Calculate the amount of salary from 2020 November to 2022 December currently. Calculate 3,000 and do the mathematics. Only one person. No other person has been added. So government is of the argument that when we say entrepreneurship skills, it is the way to go. That is why government is investing so much in the New Start. That's why Gore and CIMG is also investing. We have the presidential pitch there. And that is why we say in 2023, if we don't take care, things may collapse on government. So we put in all strategies around to stabilize the economy. It is not only freezing of public sector recruitment. A lot of, other measures have been taken down. Haircuts, cutting down the expenditure of government. Even currently, even when you go NC those days, if we travel the per diem, everything has been cut down in order for government to be able to stabilize the economy. But I don't know why the minority is not putting the argument in that particular regard. And again, when you talk about government machinery and expenditure, then I'm sorry to tell you that you don't understand how the government machinery tends to operate. Even our SRC here, administrative expenses here, the last time budget, it is budgeted at 18,000 for administrative expenses. How more a government machinery? You see, then that is why I want to even tell you that probably you don't know. America, 2021, America's GDP grew at 22 trillion US dollars. I'm coming. I want to tell you that even America has unemployment issues. Are you getting it? But that is not to say that probably we want to compare ourselves to them. No. If our GDP is 70-something billion and America is having 22 trillion US dollars as their GDP, then we are nowhere to compare. So I want to put to the minority that when you are talking about entrepreneurship and you are talking about it being useless, then I beg to differ for you to come again. It is very unfortunate that probably you've made that particular argument. But we have the argument that irrespective of government freezing.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and House. Madam Speaker, attempts for government to freeze public sector employment will create something I call we are going. It's only God that knows where we are going. Because out of 10, we ask youth, out of 10, 9 of them are living out of the country because the country is so much hard that now you are saying you want to lay embargo on unemployment before the advent of COVID-19. 2019, ministers are not being employed. 2020, same. 21, same. 22, same. Then they are not employed. They are in the house. Which people? Nurses. Are not adding to the unemployment in the country. So I'm saying that government has shot itself in the foot because when you look at you are saying you are freezing employment on what's the name next year, and yet you are inside the budget you want to add 1,570 to government machinery. Now, what has brought us all into this mess is that from 2017, or the argument that some of the main ministries, you need to merge them because what has brought us over is the fiscal. We don't want the fiscals to go to Parliament to go and buy bonds. Do you understand? So what I'm trying to say is that let's make some of the ministries cut down government expenditure. So that is the money that got the reason that we are cutting down, or maybe we are trying to lay embargo on the government that we don't have the money. We want to stabilize the economy for 1 year before we are playing for a game. All these things that will come to play. Cut down your ministers. Now they are telling us that we should tell our God new power, yours is loose. Now in a budget, like I've said, we are freezing employment. Now we are trying to add up to government of which you are saying. You have about 2,000 people in Ahianu's residency, excuse me, what's the name? Jubilee House. And yet you are telling us that we should talk about meanwhile yours is loose. What kind of leader in the speaker? My opinion is that we don't need politicians in positions. We have enough of them. We need leadership in them. What they are trying to show, they are trying to show leadership. They are trying to, I don't know how to say it, but what I'm trying to say is that yes, in times like this, You don't have to throw your hand in dismay, but you have to also do something that the people appreciate. Do you understand my point? Please, do you understand my point?
No, Madam Speaker, we are remaining time. Okay. So, Madam Speaker, from where you stopped, okay, I want 30 seconds. 30 seconds with this one. Madam Speaker, to wrap up, okay. Madam Speaker, what is happening here is that I'll get my 10. Yes, no, you get your 10. Madam Speaker, what is happening is that one, in the country, every year, okay, estimation on the average over 110,000 people graduate every year. Out of this, it's only 10% that secure jobs. And out of that 10%, the percentage that is absorbed into the government sector is somewhere around, let's say, 3% or 2%. Now, let's look at that. Now, I didn't say that the YouStart program is useless. I've never stated that. So I want to rebut that right here. Mrs. Madam Speaker, look at something. Now, if, let's say, this YouStart, we are saying we are giving 10,000 Ghana cedis to people with entrepreneurial mindset. Now, if we are giving 10,000 Ghana cedis to, let's say, 100 people, out of that 110,000 people that graduate every year, okay? Now, multiply that amount, it will be 1 million Ghana cedi out of government budget. But let's say we give just 100 people, that same 100 people, jobs from the government sector, and we are paying them, let's say, 1,500. Madam Speaker, that would be 150,000 per. 150,000, but what are you telling me? No, you are saying that you are putting embargo on employment and you want to engage in this endeavor. If you do the mathematics, Madam Speaker, I'll end it here so that you can come out with this also his fact. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before we proceed,
You asked for facts, so I'm bringing facts for you.
before we proceed, we only have 7 minutes to conclude on everything.
If you don't get it, forget about it.
We only have 7 minutes to wrap up on the debate. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to give each side 3 minutes each.
No, please allow them to speak. You must rebut before you give the 3 minutes.
No, this is let me say. So you get 3
It's
minutes.
left with 7 minutes. Make sure that the 3 minutes I'm going to give you as your rebut, your conclusion, and everything. Because we only have 7 minutes. So the majority leader, you can start.
Thank you very much, the Right Honorable Speaker in the August House. This argument or debate is becoming interesting, and I am appreciating the fact that my boss over here is trying to enlighten the minority, and the minority is struggling to learn, but gradually I'm appreciating the fact that they are coming to the light. And in due course, I think we'll have a lot of Christians. Hallelujah. Honorable, you brought a lot of figures, and I was wondering whether you were understanding what you were saying at the first place. We are talking about GDP here. We are talking about employment. You are saying that we are government employed
No meeting and a meeting.
a percentage. Government is paying only like 4% out of the total number of people that the expenditure government is doing. Only about 4% is going into payment of wages. Now, imagine we are maintaining paying only a percentage of people. See, you have to appreciate the little things. Our president said, "Sika and pay the day." Too much talk, not the full bucket. You have to appreciate the little things. If we can bring a little gap there, we are gradually making progress. And this is not the only initiative that the government is bringing to help to salvage the economy. So let's appreciate the little bits that will be brought together to give us a better picture of how we want our economy to look like. My majority leader will proceed.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, I respond to Amanor. I'm a minority leader. The minority caucus is I don't know how to put it. The minority caucus, I don't know where the argument is coming from. Sometimes I struggle to understand what the minority states to say. So that if 10,000 cedis is given to 100 people, it amounts to 1 million Ghana cedis. So in minority's point of view, 150,000 Ghana cedis should be used as salaries. Have you calculated how many months? Is it only 1 month that will be employed? How many years would it? And then you see, when you put into argument, it's not only salaries that they pay. Government pays needs. Government pays provident fund. Government pays health insurance. And then you're only putting it as basic salary at 1,005. So out of that 1,005, would government pay all this one for you? No. That is why government is of the argument that if we give 100 people, 10,000 Ghana cedis, and from evidences available, in the next 2 or 3 years, they are able to employ 4 people. That amount to 400 people that government had created employment with just 10,000 Ghana cedis out of that 10,000 Ghana cedis that government has given to the people. Born out of that, probably government has given this employment to people, so that he is paying those people 1,005 Ghana cedis in a month. That is 150,000 Ghana cedis a month. In 2 years, let's say just in 1 year, it is going to amount to 1.5 million Ghana cedis. That is per argument. But if that 10,000 Ghana cedis is given to one person and management is done well, it's going to employ 4 additional people. Without one and what you are saying, which one is rather decreasing unemployment? Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for the opportunity given me. Mr. Speaker, let me start off from Sikam Pedidi. Mr. Speaker, it's quite unfortunate that you are sitting over here. Because you are telling me that Sikam Pedidi means I should keep quiet and suffer. You understand? Anyway, it's just a saying. Mr. Speaker, we look at sustainability. In fact, when I sat down, my minority caucus were, in fact, giving me more insight towards the subject matter. Mr. Speaker, we look at sustainability. Well, that 10,000 Ghana cedi issue, that Youth Start initiative is sustained. Just look at NAPO. Today, NAPO has been left aside. Mr. Speaker, on the fact of employing that or giving 10,000 cedis to 100 people, and then let's say that initiative will yield 4 jobs. Mr. Speaker, I can tell you on fact, when I sit down again now, I'll just do the Google inquiries and then provide you the percentage. Mr. Speaker, on substantial grounds, we did this as a research while I was still in technical and in poly here. Mr. Speaker, on substantial fact, 60% of people enrolled in government payroll have their own businesses. It's a substantial fact, I'm telling you. Go and do your inquiries. Go and do your inquiries. Mr. Speaker, you can't come and tell me that this is, if this is going to give you 4 this one, let's say for you more, 4 more people. Now, that initiative that they are bringing, how long is it going to be sustained? We are not saying it's going to end, but then how long is it going to be sustained for the unforeseeable future? Mr. Speaker, we are looking at something that is going to provide food for our Ghanaian people. Mr. Speaker, we shouldn't look at what would... See, on the issue of cutting down expenditure, we shouldn't cut down standard of living. That is the point we are looking at. See, cut down expenditure, but don't reduce. While you are doing that in the process, don't cut down standard of living. Don't increase cost of living. Otherwise, it's the same thing you are doing. So let's say you cut down expenditure, you are no more employing people. And then your people, let's say all of us, we are Ghanaians over here. This is the total number of Ghanaians. Okay? And let's say these people, or those on the Clerk table and everything are already employed, and these people are left. And you are telling me they get 2023. You speak at 3 minutes, no riches. And then you tell me that, no, I'm speaking. Mr. Speaker, you tell me that you are not going to employ them. What you are doing right now is that you are increasing hardship for these people. You understand? See, if every year we are saying 110,000 people are graduating from the university. Mr. Speaker, what I'm trying to tell you is that the year 2023, okay, we are going to have additional 110 people adding up to those who are going to graduate from this year's batch. Please, I hope you are getting what I'm saying. So we have increased unemployment in the country. On top of that, standard of living is high. Cost of living is also high. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I have more to say, though, but because of time.
Thank you very much. Yes. Honorable members, in my own benevolence, I want us to actually give our closing remarks once again.
Closing remarks.
Yes, please.
Closing remarks, not a closing remarks.
No.
Closing remarks.
Yes. Closing statement.
Honorable members, you have a speaker. So kindly listen. I'm saying that in my own benevolence, you will have the opportunity to give your closing remarks, but I don't expect to tell you to conclude because I'm only starting a time and I'm leaving you to conclude by yourself. But highest you can go is 2 minutes. And when that 2 minutes is up, I'm not telling you to conclude, I'm telling you to sit down. Honorable members, on that note, the minority should come first. Minority should come first.
Are you ready? Closing remarks.
They are supposed to begin.
No, closing remarks, you do closing remarks first before.
You give first before the
Oh, you see that you don't need to sit in, so you
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. In fact, this debate is one that I took with all seriousness and with every energy of hope. Mr. Speaker, we are grateful for the opportunity given the minority to express their view on the fact that freezing public sector employment is going to escalate unemployment in Ghana. And not just that, but then reduce standard of living and increase cost of living. Mr. Speaker, we are saying that instead of putting an embargo or laying an embargo on public sector employment, rather reduce the size of certain ministries and cut down certain expenditures in certain areas of government. Mr. Speaker, we commend the You Start agenda, but we are saying that if we look at the country's budget, it will be prudent not to bring more problems or not to kill a problem with another problem. Yes. So 1 minute more. So instead of doing that, okay, Mr. Speaker, with the remaining concluding remarks, Honorable Member Dixon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now, Mr. Speaker, with this government trying to increase employment next year, Mr. Speaker, already it has caused a whole lot of marriage broken. Yes, look at the situation. Well, I was not to respond to the majority when he was talking about the GDP issue. You see, hardship is experiential. It's not based on GDP. It's your pocket. You feel it in your pocket too. Yes, GDP also comes, but that's not the way to go. But Mr. Speaker, what I want to say is that if this hardship and freeze of employment continue, all of us will flee outside the country, then the country will be left empty for them to govern. That is the minimum. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We take a remark from the majority and we do for the leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and Augusta. Mr. Speaker, I thank everybody for the opportunity. Though my members are gone, one-man majority, I know that's why the minority leader was trying to cry. My other member was telling me that they will flee the country for government to govern the country. Meanwhile, he doesn't have a passport. That's just by the way. So we'll take it like that. What I want to say is that what I want to say is that, Mr. Speaker, if as government is putting in the effort to bring out more entrepreneurs, is the way to go. It should be noted that there's no salary earner who is a billionaire. It should be noted as such. All the world's richest people are not entrepreneurs. Mark Dunn came here, he's not a salary earner. So government is putting in the effort whereby we'll have more billionaires and more millionaires in Ghana by putting up more entrepreneurs as we have. Currently, I can tell you on record that people who have their own job are the people enjoying in this particular situation. Salary earners are those who are suffering in this particular economic hardship we have. Because if you increase cost of watching, you also increase the cost of services provided. So equally, he's having the same amount of money that he or she has every now and then. Unlike a salary earner whose salary is 5,005 Ghana cedis in Honorable Erasmus boys. Currently, Cyril, a pack of Cyril is almost 60 cedis as compared to what I bought in last year, August, 27 cedis. When I got to the chat the other day, I was just doing hey all over the place. Meanwhile, those who are entrepreneurs and having their own business and having their own money are not having any issue. So it is the effort of government, in as much as 2023 financial year is not going to employ, government is equally making the effort to make sure that you start kickstart in for us to have more entrepreneurs. Once we at the majority side, what we want to tell the minority is that we want to take advantage of the youth that.
Say you.
We as a majority side, we want to take advantage of the youth that in order for us to become entrepreneurs, in order for us to become billionaires. The minority, if you want to be salary earners, no problem. You can be salary earners, but just know that there is no salary earner who is a billionaire. Bigger is not a salary earner. Magnan is not a salary earner. All of them are entrepreneurs. Thank you very much. By the way, I can fill your passport form for you.
Thank you very much, Honorable, for your closing. Honorable members, in the biggest knowledge and conclusion of this whole debate, I think it's the right position for citizens to actually take into consideration government efforts to make the country a better one. And I am actually impressed by the inputs that were made by honorable members. But that's notwithstanding, I believe both sides of the House made very valid inputs. Even as individuals here, in as much as we are just debating, maybe to improve ourselves, we are trying to inform the public as well. We are learning. We can equally simple advices from here, and when we go out there, we try to implement them in our own lives to make our lives a better one, so that we may not entirely have to depend on the government. That is not to say government also does not have its own part to play, but we should play our part and know that we have stakeholders watching us live. They will equally do their part. And then, in a nutshell, it's a win-win for us all. Honorable members, on this note, I would like us to come to close with this debate. And in the same light and the same spirit, it's a win-win for us all. I would like to invite Mr. Speaker to take the
Sit down. We will vote. We will vote on who won. Let's see whether you figure I'm going to take a chair. Yeah. Don't come a fool. See, she can't pay. They can't do by house.
Honorable members, back again.
Exactly.
Honorable Brian Cyril.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are very grateful for this. The Speaker, we in the minority, we want to appreciate your Deputy Speaker.
Yeah.
That government has given to him, that he's talking about. So that's what we want to say. And the other way, one of the other was MP.
Exactly.
We just like the government, since they are the sort of government, they are defending government. Since we have not have our haircut, we want to believe that they should continue being the government. And we pray that going forward, the majority also have this. Going forward, the majority also have this haircut then.
Cut the forest. Cut down the forest.
Honorable members, at the conclusion of the debate,
let's proceed.
having heard from both sides of the House, it is evident that the country needed this strategy. But it is to say that it will come with problems. However you say it, or however you say it, this is the step government has decided to take. And I think we would have to take advantage of the other avenues of employment in order not to be handicapped. So at the conclusion of the debate, as you, there is nothing we can do about this decision. But to take advantage of the other opportunities, I think it should be said.
Mr. Speaker, who won?
We have won.
Let's vote.
Everyone won. Both
No. We will debate again. We will not go. We will debate.
Order.
Mr. Speaker, it's like having haircut. There's something happening.
Order.
Mr. Speaker, then we have to vote.
I'd like to
Even
come,
vote is a real haircut.
honorable members,
Even vote is a real
I'd like to thank my first deputy speaker and acting second deputy speaker for handling the debate for me. I needed to take a little break. So, honorable members, that is the end of the debate for today. We'll move to item 13, which is remarks on the first session of the second parliament. Honorable members, in taking the remarks, we'll take, if any MP wants to comment on the first session, you can say it, and then your leaders will give their remarks, and then I'll give my remarks, and then we'll proceed to adjourn the House in the day, ending the first session and resuming the recess of Parliament to the second session in January. So, honorable members, do you have any remarks on the first session of the second Parliament? Honorable Hubert Agbahode.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I respond to the name Hubert Agbahode, Youth MP for Akachi North constituency. Okay. What transpired in the entire second Parliament of the first session, I would like to say that the MPs that have been booted out, actually, I don't know whether they still have the chance to apply during the second session. No. And the people that will be occupying the vacant positions during their vetting should be noted that without them taking their oaths, they will be booted out automatically. It shouldn't be that we should be here struggling with who should be taken out or how to put it across. It should be noted to them, or it should be stated in the form that at least if you are not able to meet the requirements of you being an MP, you should be booted out without any struggle or without even calling you on phone. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think Honorable Hubert Agbahode has raised an important matter that we need to agree on. He's saying that members booted out, do they have an opportunity to reapply? The entire House. I'll put the question. If the ayes have it, it means if you have been booted out, you have an opportunity to reapply. For me, before I put the question, I think the appointment committee is there to re-evaluate the application. So if the appointment committee feels you come with the same attitude, they will not recommend that you be appointed. They will not even designate you.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I respond to him. What is the probability that those members who have been booted out will come back changed? What is the probability? Because you have been given the opportunity and then you didn't utilize it. It's like writing examination and going to write.
Honorable Acting Second Deputy Speaker has put you to order. Let's hear the point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Right Honorable Speaker in the House. I put my honorable member into order because he said what shows that when they are given a second chance, they will not repeat it. I don't think in Ghana here, even in World Technical University, we are being given a second chance to write receipts. There is no there. There are other no. So you give people the second chance for them to correct themselves, to prove themselves. So I don't think. No. Your point, I have to put it to order because it is not.
It's a correction. It's not an order. It's not an order. This is not a point of order. It's a correction.
Okay, so
yes,
I'll take your point as a correction. Of the majority
Mr. Speaker,
yes.
what I'm saying is that what is the probability that they will come back changed? Look at the excuses they gave in the report. Some said they were not interested. Mr. Speaker, once again, I want to ask, are we bringing me? I want new people in. Those people, what is the probability that they will not come and give us lab excuses like the way they did in the first Parliament? Even if you say we should give second chances for change, I don't believe in that one. When you are spot, you are spot. When you write receipt, what's the probability that you're going to pass? Even with your grade point, your credit hours increasing, what's the probability that you are going to pass that particular course that you are creating? So, Mr. Speaker, I don't think it is very advisable because them coming back as youth MPs for those various constituencies, something like winning UK, and then you didn't appear throughout the entire 5 sittings of the vote. Then you want us to come back again? No. I don't think it makes sense in any way. Because I don't think that those people will come back changed. Because if honorable, the first person on the list, what's the name? Abu Fatah, wait about. His issues is transportation. What's the probability that one is given opportunity? Transportation is not going to be given.
That will be his issue. We will not.
Honorable members, thank you very much.
We are not forcing them to
very
apply.
much.
Mr. Speaker, in my own regards, if they come, I will make sure that I will line up my majority members and we will put them out. We will not even swear them in. Because we don't need them. Because, Mr. Speaker, I want it to be noted that if they had been serious, they would have been here.
That's personal issue with them. It's like James advanced.
Yes, we are the majority. What is the problem? What is the problem? What is your problem? What is your problem? Even you, the first time you are coming to sit in Kanye. Even you are never put out. Even you are never put out. I agree. Even you can you meted 3 cities. Palestinian resolution. Even you are put out city. You miss plenty city. Even you.
Mr. Speaker, he's not in a good position of people. That's why I say that.
Majority leader will put you over here.
He's not in a good position of people.
I'm not taking you to anywhere. I'm just taking you that you missed 3 cities. Palestinian is supposed to be put there.
Mr. Speaker, I said, he's not in a good position of people.
This person is not necessary. The appointment committee will do the next.
How is it not necessary?
It's not necessary. Because you put the people out. And then you want to
If you are given the opportunity to reapply, then they can reapply. Why will you put them out?
we put them out because they were not performing. They were not here.
They are going to be the one we give them. They will perform.
I think I agree.
He's
I agree with the fact that let's give the opportunity to the privileges committee to determine their merit. If they merit the number, and I think it is solved. So the National Committee shall deliberate on that. And conclusion.
You are standing in.
So what is your problem?
No, what's the problem? Reason I want to apply. You know what he's doing in.
why you guys
You know what he's doing.
why is it time more than the dream person? Why is it time more than the dream person?
When you are disqualified from the vehicle and you want to come and reapply for another vehicle, that doesn't make sense.
So we are moving on.
See, if you put them out, we'll put you out.
So,
We'll not just be
He's not in a good
so the
position.
appointment committee shall determine the merit of MP's law.
They don't merit this number for
I think they are representative. And I think
If you use constitution,
honorable members,
It's my own good friend. I'm telling you, they should be. We need
you
you.
ask 2 questions.
I just have to manage.
What's the second one? Or you forgot?
I think
the same thing is
Okay, so I think the brother says that we'll move on. Any other remark on the first session of the second parliament? Okay, well, let me just say.
All right, thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I've forgotten something that I would have added to what I've said earlier on. Looking at the first session of the second parliament, it's stated in the our order, let's see, the standing orders that what when you miss sittings 3 consecutive times, whether you should be taken to the privileges committee, whether the recommendations to be booted you out or you should be retained or you should be given some conditions whether you change your lifestyle. But this one, some people had only in one sitting. They came for their swearing in, and then after that, their faces are nowhere to be found again in the house. So I think going forward, the next second session, those things should be implemented. We shouldn't look at faces that say, oh, this person came for the swearing in. So whether the person misses like 3, 4, like we should just overlook. No, you should just set the record straight and then take the action where necessary. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable Acting Secretary Speaker, Chester Wande.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker in the House. My name is Kendra Elizabeth Mante. I follow up on what Honorable Agbawande said. And I believe that people took up the position and then opportunities came. Opportunities including employment, opportunities including top-up education, opportunities including maybe they relocating to other places. Now, what is the resolution? Are you saying that if you have 50 MPs, of which maybe 15 are in Hope and can make it, and maybe the 35 left, due to employment, education, or other reasons, are out of Hope and cannot come for some sittings, they should be taken off? If that is the case, let us know now, so that those of us who think that due to maybe employment, school, or other factors, we cannot come for maybe most of the sittings, we will know what decision to take. Or is it going to be that if you know you are from Kappa, Accra, Kumasi, you cannot come? Support us with 5 cedis, 10 cedis, 20 cedis of your transportation to buy refreshment for the people. What other strategies are we bringing in place? Okay, out of the 6 sittings, come for 2. The rest of the 4, instead of spending 200 cedis of your transportation, watch online, we'll mark your attendance. And in watching, give us maybe 20 cedis of your money for something. I think I want to know so that I will know what stand to take. Because sincerely, coming from Accra yesterday for this meeting, 200 cedis, I'm not sure I'll be able to come 200 cedis all the time. Looking at this economic crisis, I'm not on any payroll. I'm not taking you get it? So 200 cedis all the time will be impossible for someone like me. So I want to know the way forward for people like us who have moved out of home and are not coming to
Thank you very much. I think even at the National House, the MPs are not constant. But at the end, you should be able to, we are giving 15 sittings as spot, the only grace period that you can absent yourself. And ours is 3. So at least, like we can say in every 3 months, you try and appear. Or every 4 months, you try and appear. Of course, but you cannot absent completely and you think we let you go. But however, I want to refer this matter to the Research and Intelligence Committee to debate clearly on what is the best option, because the rule will not change. But it is how can it be for the other people living outside and report to the House at the first sitting of the second session.
We will sack the majority people all.
Honorable Gilson, the remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker in the House. Mr. Speaker, I just want to commend the hard-working and responsible MPs in this House who is making efforts to make the vision of this Union Parliament to become a reality. Mr. Speaker, I think that was 3 days ago. I was discussing something with you about some people not residing in home, but they want to join the movement. So it comes to how we run ourselves. I was discussing with you the other time. By the way, during my administration, we had the tag for the various MPs. Because some will see that alone who are trying to come. If you are working with us, because myself, I do post a lot of them, and the way I brand my status, some people cannot afford to miss that. So I think the branding should also be going for, because we are 1 year old. We are going for so that at least even though we are 1 year old, we should do things as if we are 10 years old. Mr. Speaker, please, you get the point I just want you to agree with, I just want to understand what I'm trying to say. So, Mr. Speaker, so with all that I said, I believe that going forward, the majority and the minority, how do we mobilize people at the plenary to come and watch? Because if you look at every day is the back and forth. People want to come and see and learn. Let's think about how those who are not involved want to join. You shouldn't get, because in your vision or mission statement, you said to give them the ability to build themselves, capacity building, public speaking. How then do you do that? So there's not only you become MP before you know something. No. Let's initiate a lot of these things. Please, do you understand?
Thank you very much. It is accordingly noted, and the leadership and the movement level will debate this. Honorable Majority Leader.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and Mr. Speaker. I thought the deputy minority would to sit down. He didn't sit down.
He didn't understand.
I asked you to sit down earlier, but you just...
Do you understand?
No, I don't understand things when I'm sitting. I understand when I'm standing. Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, the fact that this in the first session of the Parliament has been very, very, very good, nice, and in all joy. We had the opportunity to visit the MCE and then the regional minister. As business committee, we are making plans underway to get a tag. This boy, his horse was rushing too fast. He's not part of even the business committee, but he is rushing to say the thing that the business committee chairperson will say. Mr. Speaker, we have. It's unfortunate that I didn't bring the sample but I spoke to Honorable Salom Agbavo, my deputy, the only graphic designer we have in the whole house. The minority don't have one. He is only. Please, we don't want that thing that look like this every day. We are working on getting a tag, a beautiful tag for the what's the name? The MPs at the cost. Parliament will not bear that particular cost. So when it is ready, it will be made known on the page. But I'm not sure it will be more than 10 cedi.
Yeah.
It should be
It's 20 cedi.
No, I don't like your own. We'll do it our own. Your own is too local. Within 10 cedi, we'll work on something like that. Mr. Speaker, once again, we are looking at change of venue so that the venue will not be always the same place. No, we can't come to Accra.
But you want about to come here.
We want to.
Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker,
You want about to come
Mr. Speaker, you see, I'm on the floor. When the majority leader is on the floor, kindly give that respect that is due the majority leader. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I like the way you understand things very easily. Mr. Speaker, when it comes, Ho is our administrative location. United Nations Youth Parliament, their administrative location is in Accra. They have never changed location ever since I've known them. Youth Model Parliament, their location is in Accra. When you come for, you go, you do it. No, their sittings, they pay. Their own come with cost. The last sitting that they held recently, Charles and Co paid about 200 cedis plus for them to, even on your own transportation, where you sleep, you bear that own cost. But ours, we are making this cost free. But it is not with the argument that probably others shouldn't be given the opportunity. Yes, we want to groom youth in public speaking and all that one. But you must be serious when you come. When you are not serious, we put that one there. Me, I'll tell you point blank. We will take you off. That one there is one thing for sure. As Honorable Jones rightly said, we have our own rules that we play by. If you can't come for a sitting, you ask for permission. Once in a while, you appear. We see the effort that you are making. It's not compulsory that probably you are to come, and some of us who are in board here, but I mean today, should it happen that I leave home and I know that I won't come, I will just resign from my position. Simple as ABC. Let's inculcate that particular habit that when we know that we cannot be able to take up this particular position and the position will be done with, let's just resign. We are going with this attitude, and Finance Minister is still sitting there with all those things around his neck and holding his neck. He's sitting there, the Finance Minister. UK Prime Minister, 45 days in office. She just realized that things were overhead. She resigned, 45 days in office. Let's begin learning that particular attitude that when we know that this position, we can't handle it properly, let's resign and let's stop giving issues to those who are handling the hem of affairs. Mr. Speaker, this session has been very successful. In the second session, we are looking at to bring up a whole lot of diverse activities that will make youth impact planning. And to note that plans are underway. It is just a spoiler alert to visit Right Honourable Speaker Aban Bagwe in Parliament in the second Parliament. We have started the process and we are praying that if nothing spoils, somewhere February, March, we should be able to go to Parliament and introduce ourselves properly to, what's the name? Bagwe. And as well as introduce ourselves to our youth, various MPs that we are representing them as youth MPs, to give us the opportunity to learn as well. So it's very important. So I'm of the argument that the majority side, with the business committee, we are promising a very exciting second session, God willing, next year. But it should be noted that unless you are serious before you depart, because if you are not serious, Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Before we hear from minority leader, let me hear Honorable Eric something and you. I'm sure you have some testimony to give after seeing how serious we are. Honorable Eric, please hear from you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to congratulate everybody here. In fact, I've already seen some future MPs here. Some of us are already in the game without passing through these stages, but I think it's a center for learning, and some of us are going to build up more. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
When you mean future, it means me.
Honorable minority leader, remarks on the first session.
Me, I don't do my remarks yet.
I thought that was a remark.
I made a remark as an MP, not as a leader. Please. Are you made you had opportunity as an MP now. I also had my opportunity as an MP. Please.
Okay, then before we receive minority leader, Honorable Roger, you have the ability to say. Elvis. Thank you. Okay. Honorable Janet, you have any comments today?
No.
Okay. Anyone? No. First level,
If you give me chance, I will.
okay. So, Honorable minority leader, please give your remarks on the first session.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve as the minority leader for this honorable minority caucus. For the first session. Mr. Speaker, very gallant and solidified and substantial. Mr. Speaker, the first session, in fact, we had certain challenges, especially regarding attendance. Leaving the jokes aside and then the seriousness aside, I think myself, I would have to work on the attendance because very well. It is undoubtedly true that I presented myself constantly throughout the last Parliament session. This one due to the fact that my work takes me out from the jurisdiction of Parliament. It has quite curtailed my movement. However, I am going to put measures in place. In as much as I'm putting measures in place to ensure that I'm constant in Parliament, my minority caucus will also endeavor to work on their attendance. I love this people. Even if I say dead, they'll say yeah.
You know, right?
The majority to this
Mr. Speaker, that reminds me, I want to let it know that the majority keep on saying they are majority, but they are just majority in word.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I remember on the leadership platform, I made mention that I will provide 15 MPs for minority aspect or caucus.
And you did.
Yes, I think today we were about 12. Then some people left.
And the rest
I did
How
well.
you do your math? 15 is this one.
No, we were about 12.
One person is
Two people have left, or 3 people left.
One person is
Some people left. See, we even load you left. We load you left. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, that alone should have let the majority, see, on the more serious note, that alone should have told the majority leader that, if I'm serious, majority leader should have worked hard to convince his people, see, are you okay? Seated there. First deputy speaker is not part of the majority. Only you are seated.
And the
hotel like this. And then you have the guts to come and debate us. Anyway, it has been a very lovely parliamentary session, irrespective of the ups and then the downs. But we hope that the next parliamentary session is going to be a remarkable one. Mr. Speaker, on that note, I thank you.
You You already spoke, so make it a short one.
No, I spoke as an MP. Mr. Speaker, I spoke as an MP. I'm not speaking as majority leader. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, then I will speak as an MP.
I like the way you understand it very well.
Honourable members, the majority leader is on floor.
Thank you very much. Let them know that. Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for this opportunity, and it is all exciting. It's quite unfortunate that for the first time that the majority side has been empty, the minority is having the say. And it's very disheartening with borrowed members, first-time members, runaway leader that is now coming in. They have all that energy. Honorable Elvis is a borrowed member. Please, Honorable Elvis does not know his constituency. I'm here to give you a suggestion that he will gladly take, and he will join us soon.
No.
Where's Karen?
Mr. Speaker,
I maintain that minority.
Talking about attendance, it is very important that we encourage both sides to attend sittings, especially those who are in the home. And we will realize that majority of the MPs that were voted out were minority members. Yes, majority. When from the statistics, majority of them are minority members voted out. And it is very important that in the future, where we come back in the second section, that attitude of attendance we must really look at. And again, coming on time. Today, what's the name? The meeting was supposed to start at 1, but majority of us came after 1. It was only Honorable Eric who was here way before 1.
I came at 10:30.
Please.
I was waiting. Oh, ask Mr. Speaker.
Oh, you came at 10:30 because you come. Oh, Mr. Speaker, I don't know why when I'm speaking, the minority is always interjecting.
You will spill lies. You have to correct that.
For the first, because you see that when you have.
Honourable members, the majority leader is on floor. Let's listen to you.
When you don't go to school for long and you want to go to school for the first time, you go to school very early before everybody comes. And that is how it looks like for the minority. But notwithstanding that, it is not anything. It's very important that attendance should be really looked at. And again, we also look at that when we are speaking during our debates, we should speak with facts because we record. Sometimes, sometimes during the debates, we take a second to that.
Honourable members, this is parliamentary business. Let him speak.
You see, it is very important that the minority length debate, that when you are speaking, you take the opportunity to keep quiet when you have your turn. That's why when you are talking, I'll pretend as if I'm not hearing what you are saying, but I will note all down. That's just by the way. When we are speaking during debate, it's very important that we provide our debate with facts and evidences because we are recording. Who knows whoever will chance on our videos, and probably we may speak something that is not of fact or is not that don't have evidence. So it's very important that we look at that way. Notwithstanding that, the majority in the second section today is quite unfortunate that we had only one man majority, but it was all fun. Notwithstanding that, I want to put to the minority leader that in the second section, we don't want any runaway. He has been a prodigal son to Parliament. Welcome home, son. But just know that whatever you want to spend there, you won't get it back this time around. So it is very important. Mr. Speaker, in the second section, we promise to be a very low abiding and as well as Parliament and MPs as a whole. With the IMPs that are voted out, we pray that those who will be joining back, those who will be joining us, whether new or old, of which I don't want the old to come back, if the old join and they still behave that way, we will still boot them out. All seriousness in the second session. Because Youth Impact Parliament, I don't know what a problem, we are not seeing the impact that we are making as far as Youth Impact Parliament is concerned. Let me tell you on record, all the model parliament, from United Nations Youth Parliament to Youth Model Parliament, all of them learn from our speaker. They call him every now and then from insights. As far as within the parliament, within the student parliament space, those of Aditya is on that page. There's the Ghana Speakers Caucus. Every now and then they call because they see what we are doing. The other one, the first day we released the posters for the direct, no, is it the leaders? People were calling. When we posted, people were calling that how do they join Youth Impact Parliament? Because it looked like something that we are playing with under the roof of SRC JCR. But it is something that is, the day we visited, what's the name, MC, that we came back, a whole lot of people, when they saw the picture, people were like, hey, like how? And those stuffs. It is something that is making impact. But it seems like we are not getting the insight of what we are doing. That is why I'm of the argument that those who are not serious, let's send them out and bring serious people in. That has been my argument every now and then. Because in the situation whereby, God willing, next section we are able to visit Parliament and introduce ourselves to Right Honorable Abenbagui. Do you know the kind of how do I put it, name that we are going to get? Because we have MC Honorable Divine as our patron. This year, fathers have Honorable Flolu as our patron. Honorable what's the name? Kofi Ato, who is the special aide to Speaker of Parliament, as our patron. He was here the other time. Honorable what's the name? Peter Kote, Honorable MP for Akati North, right? As our patron. And who? Mr. Vogan. Look at the people that we have. So that is why when we were about inaugurating the Uganda version of our parliament, they were like the Uganda MPs were of the argument and like, how did we have all these MPs and these government officials as our patron? Because at their end they don't get this opportunity because they cannot even speak to the assemblyman to come closer to them of this nature. We are making impact. We are making name. Youth Impact Parliament will become bigger than what we have today. It is all depending on us to take it very serious as we take it every now and then. Most especially the virtual leadership seminar. Sometimes we will have leadership seminar. The day Mr. Bagan lectured on integrity. Yeah. We were only 3 people online that day. So just imagine how that one is just virtual. Probably data is of an issue, but if nothing at all, our presence alone online, maybe if we have 30 people, the next time when you call on the person with another topic, he or she will be motivated. And then to those of you who don't know, Honorable the doctor we have here, Honorable Honorable Harrison has donated 11 of his book, the book that he launched here at the JCR at that time. Was Ghana's Parliament something? Know How Parliament. That book he launched here somewhere in July. He donated 11 to those who were present at the lectureship that day. We are yet to go for it and give it out to members. It all comes with a lot of benefit that one way or the other we may not be able to learn in the classroom or read it in any book. Yeah. So it's all important that as far as our banter, our noise and everything, we take everything serious at the end of the day. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Please, may I call on my first deputy and acting second deputy to come and stand with me?
Speaker of the
Honourable members.
Speaker of the haircut. This is 85. That is supporting government. Your tie is a class. Your tie.
As you can see, the deputy speakers now have their own rules.
Oh. Yeah. This is what I'm telling you. Is it this one is nicer? I had home rules.
Own rules.
Home.
Oh,
I was thinking it was home.
And may I state that the clerks also have their own rules. And let me put it on record that this is the first youth parliament in the whole of Ghana to acquire its own rules.
Yeah.
All of these rules have summed up to 7. 4 for the clerks, 3 for the deputies. And we have such for 4 clerks and 3 speakers. And we have sashes as well, 3 for marshals, 5 majority, 5 minority. What we are doing here is a serious business. And just within 5 months, we have been able to acquire all these rules. Yes, we started working on it since the time we had our anniversary. But just within 5 months, we have been able to get all these, and I think it is commendable. Yay! So, since we are unveiling this, it's important I teach you the codes as well, because I remember at the third session, I taught you the interpretation of the deputy clerk's role. So, as you can see, my role is just 1 bar. The deputy speakers have 2 bars. But the first deputy speaker has a bigger bar. The stripes are bigger. And then the second deputy has smaller stripes. So the interpretation is that if you see two, then you know it's a deputy. But when it is bigger, then you know it's first deputy. At the back of the second deputy is 3 lines. At the back of first deputy is 2 lines. And at my back is just 1 line. These are the interpretations. So you can read the rank even watching from the back. And then also the arms. I have 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 lines. The first deputy has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the second deputy has 1, 2, 3. So that alone also reads out the rank. In designing roles, we look out for all these things. Let me cite an example from where we got our inspiration. Even whole technical university, the principal officers, has someone really examined their roles? Yeah. Registrar, 1 line. All of them, their faces are the same. But registrar has 1 line. Pro-vice chancellor has 2 lines. Vice chancellor has 3 lines. Chairman of council has 4 lines. And the chancellor, of which we don't have, but his role is there, has 5 lines. When you go to K University, for them, the bigger the person, the more the gold. And then the red comes more if the person has a lower ranking. And then for them, their chancellor has 5, I think about 4 over here. And then vice chancellor has 3. Pro-vice chancellors have 2. Registrar has 1. There is understanding and reading and then interpretation to all of this. So whatever we are doing, we are not just doing it. It is because we mean this business. That is how we have invested into roles. We know we have not provided item 30, but this is what is being used for. And the agenda for the first session of the second parliament was to obtain rules, so we have done it. Can I hear? So thank you very much. You can resume your seat now. We'll take pictures, don't worry. So may I state that for the second session, the agenda is to obtain our own sound system, so that MPs will not be speaking on top of their voice. Initially, the microphone has 2, but when we got here, it was only 1. So when we are able to have our own sound system, we know at every time we have 4 mics, 1 majority, 1 minority, 1 speaker, and 1 clerk, and we'll not be speaking on top of our voices. So the agenda for the second session is the sound system, a maze, and then gavel. This gavel, as you can see, is dead. Is this surviving? Is this surviving? Yes. Honourable members, may I state that for the first session of Parliament, it has gone, for me, I'm not really into the numbers. Because I know even with 2 people left and right, we can talk for 3 hours. So I am never into the numbers. When we provide opportunity for people to prove themselves, and they don't take this or don't make it, are we to be blamed? No. If they are not serious, we kick them out. And today we have set a precedent for all other parliaments, and even the national parliament, that when members break the rules, we take them out. Today, we have taken out 27 MPs. In the last meeting, we took out 2, making 29 seats. I have not heard of any youth parliament doing that. And the national parliament is here to learn from us. We are still waiting to hear the ruling and how the issue will go on the Madrasa constituency. Well, we leave that to posterity to judges. Honourable members, that is my remark on the first session. And we have been here for over 3 hours and we have to adjourn. So thank you very much. Honourable Majority Leader, please move the motion for adjournment sine die to end the first session and commence our recess for the Christmas break. Honourable Majority Leader.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker and our guest Honourable Speaker. In the absence of any further deliberation for this first session, I humbly move the adjournment of this House sine die for the commencement of the recess of the first parliament. Of the first session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity given me. In regards to the motion ably moved by the majority leader, I humbly rise to second. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
He has not been to Britain before, that was why.
Honorable members, from the bottom of my
He has
heart,
not been to Britain
I
before.
want to thank all of you still present here and all the other MPs who still have their seats. To our patrons and persons supporting us from wide and far. And please, before we close, our marshal did not introduce himself.
He did.
He did it. And he has been on our camera upstanding. So far, he has been suffered more than us. He has been upstanding all this one. I'll introduce you. Mr. Enoch Najo, Marshal of Parliament. On behalf of the House, I want to say thank you for your services. Thank you very much. Honourable members, motion moved and seconded for adjournment synod for the House to end its first session and commence its recess for the Christmas holidays. I now put the question to the House. All in favor that this House adjourn synod, say aye. Not in favor, say nay. Honorable members, it appears I've not heard you well. I'll put the question again. Honorable members, the question is that this House adjourn synod. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Not in favor, say nay. Nay. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The motion carries. Therefore, this House hereby adjourns synod and shall reconvene in January for the second session.
It's not haircut.
Haircut.
Go ahead.
Yeah.